Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Galactic Ambition, a Star Wars Unlimited podcast, part of the Maindeck podcast family. I'm Dan.
I'm Jason, and we're back, baby. Let's go.
We're back, baby.
We were gone for a while.
It was actually no different, I think, than the other times that you have just been unable to make a recording. So
but that was not. This wasn't like because of. I mean, inherently because of me.
No, not
Dang,
this time.
the bus didn't just roll over me this time.
I'm throwing you right under the bus.
No kidding. No, this was for good reasons.
We're back from Gen Con.
Yeah, well, we've been back from Gen Con for a while. We haven't just stayed there.
No, I literally just flew in from India yesterday.
Oh, that's
I just hung out for a while.
Oh, that's fine. I'm sure there's lots to do.
There's a lot less to do actually after that Sunday. I think I care about.
No more table tennis.
Oh man, no, that's for the Patreon podcast. I think the table tennis cast will be on the main Patreon. We'll do that at some point. The debauchery, but yeah, Jason, we just got back from Gen Con. Ostensibly, I mean, we like you said, it's been a week or so, but for the listeners. Mm-hmm. Since our last episode, we got back from Gen Con, and that is going to be what we talk about today as our main topic. We're going to do a little bit of a Gen Con recap, right? We're going to tell our stories. We're going to give our opinions on. There was plenty of SWU stuff going on at Gen Con. Before we get to that, though, should we talk about some news?
Let's talk about some news.
Since it has been so long, what's happening?
What's happening? Well, the whole judge thing kind of started rolling out, I guess. Few weeks ago.
That's the latest.
That's like the super latest, but like a week or two ago, the email went out saying, hey, we're going to make this judge Discord server. And then today, if you had signed up for that, you got an invite. And now that's a thing.
Yes, I am in it.
Yeah, I'm in it too.
I'm in the Discord. Let's go. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm thinking. So I'm definitely I want to try and play in some events competitively for sure. I failed to get into our Planetary Qualifier.
Me too.
I can't remember if that happened before after the last episode, but I didn't get the memo and it sold out too quickly. So that was my bad. But if I'm really lucky, maybe I can judge there or something and then hit up some future ones instead.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I remember the invites went live while I was running an RCQ at work. And I was pulling singles and all that stuff and just no time to check it. And by, an hour or two later, I think our event in Florida was pretty filled up. So same thing. I'm going to try to get on the staff for that. If I can't, that's okay. I'm sure there's something I can get into. There's a lot of dates happening. So we'll see. It's still really exciting to finally see this thing going. And the amount of interest is still wild to me.
Yeah. Star Wars Unlimited is, if anyone's been worried about the health of the game, which I don't think anyone has been because there's been no signs whatsoever of any decline or anything. But yeah, it's we got people. People all over the place for this game. So SWU is doing pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
I've been talking with Cascade Games a little bit. So they're the ones who are running the judge program. Actually got to meet up with Chris in Gen Con, who's been sort of my point of contact, and we chatted a little bit too. So they're also doing stuff with Altered as well. So that's I've kind of got my hands in a couple of different pots, right? A couple different cookie jars, and I feel pretty good. I think about Cascade Games being part of this. They've got a pretty good. I feel like they've got a pretty professional setup. I think they're taking things pretty seriously. And yeah, I think we're going to have a pretty sweet little judge program here. The thing that I'm still curious about, because I still haven't announced it, is the tournament software that we're going to move to for Star Wars. I believe I've made my opinions known before, but I really hope this is not Melee, because that's not my favorite.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got a little more new OP news to wait for here in the coming weeks, I think, to lock in before it's not long before these PQs start, right?
Yeah, right around the corner. It's going to be here before we know it for a lot of these events, and we're going to need something, especially by the time we run these. I think that my hope is we have it in the next few weeks, so we can't be going into these events using kind of like spinning the wheel of software. That just simply won't work. So I'm hoping relatively soon we get something. That way we have a little bit of freedom to hopefully use it at our local events and see what's going on with it. Like, breakers, all that good stuff, just all the nerd stuff we need to know about it. So when I go, 0, 4, and 3, what my breakers are,
Well, at that point, usually your breakers aren't that important.
Yeah, but what if I wanted to know them?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, there we go. See? Perfect.
Just to clarify, was that 0, 4, and 3, or was it 4 and 3?
No, it was 0. It was 0, 4, and 3.
Okay, there's a big difference between those two.
Yeah.
You can't go 0, 4. You can't go 0, 4, and 3 in Star Wars Unlimited.
Well, what if I did?
Because draws are double losses.
Okay, so and then that answers my question. I don't need it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
all right,
just as a quick answer. No, it's just I really like kind of like seeing those breakers just in general, like knowing, like coming from a tournament organizer standpoint, like that kind of stuff really interests me. I hate being asked, "Hey, I'm 5 and 2 right now. Am I live?" I'm like,
am I going to make it?
Am I going to make it? And I'm like, that's how you learn your tiebreakers and look at the standings, But hopefully we'll have a software that will show that for everybody, so everyone can know what's going on, and it's competent and works great and isn't melee.
My old standby for that question that I was taught by the level 2 magic judge in our area back when I was doing magic judging was he had a very specific way of doing it too. His name was Brian. He was a good friend of mine, and he would go, "Oh." that was the answer to "Am I going to make it?" Which was more or less just saying you're on your own. Go figure it out. I can't give you advice either way.
My thing is just the best thing you do for your breakers is don't lose. Just to go undefeated. Yep. You don't have to ask me that question. One. Yeah, just win everything. There you go. You did it.
Just don't lose.
Just don't lose.
Yeah, I'm pretty bad at that.
Me too. Me too.
I'm eternally on the bubble every time.
But yeah, really excited to go knock out this little test I started working on before we fired this up. It's nice to see the care that's been put into it so far. So I'm interested to see how, like you said, Cascade seems like they're doing well. There's evident there's care put into it so far and thought and follow through on this. So I'm really excited to see how it goes down.
Yeah, and also I didn't have to do a scheduled test with a bunch of people on a Discord server like for Bandai.
Yes, which I almost said that. I was like, but this is...
No, I said it.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I was like, that was such a nightmare. So this is nice. At least on a ground level, right? Your level 0 test should be something that's free access, not free, like easy to access for everybody. They should be able to just do it and bang it out because it should just be a rudimentary rules kind of check. And then as you progress, it should be, you can go proctored, you can go interviewed, stuff like that. Like I could go on a whole diatribe about the Bandai process. It made me so angry that I had to go through it for work and, just so we can grow those kind of events and stuff. But
that's a good Patreon podcast idea. So remember that one.
Got it. I will remember that.
I want to mention this too, just because this was huge news that I don't think we got to cover. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they did announce the 3 set names from next year, sets 4, 5, and 6. Did we cover that? I don't think we did.
I don't think we did. I know we talked about it, but I don't think we talked with everyone about it.
No, and we're going to really quick just talk with everyone about it because that happened since our last podcast as well. Set 4, Jump to Lightspeed. Set 5, Legends of the Force. And set 6, Secrets of Power. So, I mean, the obvious thing here.
Yeah.
The obvious thing, right? Set 4, Jump to Lightspeed, spaceships. So, finally, we all assume leaders will deploy to space, potentially in maybe have a Han Solo that deploys into the Millennium Falcon, or Han Solo in the Millennium Falcon, or something like that, right?
If not, I'd be really disappointed.
I would be shocked and sad.
I'd be really disappointed. But that seems like it's at the launching pad for that for sure.
An interesting bit of reaction I'd seen from some people when we mentioned that is say people have been going like, oh, but like they all deploy to space. Like, how's that balanced? We're like, they all deploy to ground right now.
Right. Yeah, it's the same thing. And I think they have to do that too for the limited vacuum as well.
Yeah.
Like you have to do that. Like, but yeah, we're currently already doing that. So how does that, great question. Yeah. Moving on. Kind of.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, but it, right. It is going to bring an interesting balance, a bunch of interesting balance questions, not for the designers, but for like, really for us trying to figure out like what's good and what's not, because now suddenly like we play this game very much around when you're building a deck, you're planning for, okay, the aggro matchup. Sabine's going to flip on turn 3. Mm-hmm. Sabine's going to flip and start attacking me. If she puts a Darksaber on right away, which can equip to non-vehicle things, right? Like that changes all the math. And okay, I can play Force Choke, which kills non-vehicle things to take care of that aggro problem. Yeah, okay, but like now that's probably going to still be a viable aggro deck.
Sure.
As is new aggro Space Leader, which has a totally different set of interaction potentially that you need to worry about. Plus, like, how are we going to build our decks? What are we balancing between ground and space and ground removal, space removal, when some leaders are going to be in space and some are going to be on ground now?
Oh, I think it's really exciting, but also from kind of like a deck builder standpoint, I think balancing that razor and being on the razor's edge of what removal is going to be good, like you're saying, and I think what I think we should not speculate, but I imagine when they're in space, they're going to be in a vehicle, so they're going to be a vehicle unit now when they're in space.
Yep,
that's another thing to worry about. Yeah, I mean, if they're not, that'd be kind of weird, right?
You can unless have like, it's like special Ahsoka in her spacesuit.
There you go. Yeah,
she's done a few things where she's like flown out.
I guess. Yeah, sure. That's fine. That makes sense. Like, you could go with that. She's just
in space.
It's just going to be. It's going to be fun to see how they balance that. But I'm most excited just to see what they're going to do with space leaders, just in general. I think it's just something that we've been waiting for them to explore. I think people didn't think they were going to explore it, but now I feel it's all but guaranteed.
Yeah. I think so for sure. And then we have 2 more sets. We have the Legends of the Force, which, so, I mean, the big thing people are on super hopium for is Legends era characters in Legends of the Force. And I would say that's a big old maybe with this. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked, but I would also not be surprised. Like, I don't think you're going to see your really, really niche, like, Legends. Like, if for the homies out there who know about Luke with 2 use, right? I don't think you're seeing that. Like, maybe you're going to see like Knights of the Old Republic, possibly stuff like that. Like, it has to be, I think, pretty mainstream Legends content. Right. Shadows of the Galaxy. Shadows of the Empire. Totally. Shadows of the Empire. Like Dash Rendar? Sure. Like, I think that's, if we're going to see Legends, reasonable. But at the same time, it could just be way too early still to see that stuff.
Right.
There's plenty of Legends in the Star Wars galaxy without referring to the canon versus Legends delineation. And then we have Secrets of Power, and who knows what that is. I think it's just Tyler, I think, was the lead dev on that, and he's like really, really pumped on the dev team about his set. So we'll see what kind of nonsense he came up with, if I'm remembering that correctly. Yeah, that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, really exciting.
Pretty exciting stuff.
And then we got our set 3 tidbits while we were there. And just what dropped what in the past few days that dropped is we're not getting Shields and Experience in set 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just getting don't see you later for now. Come back next time.
I was pretty surprised by that, actually, because Shields and Experience both feel like such basic.
They feel evergreen, the game. Especially they're very evergreen now.
Yeah. But I kind of appreciate from this angle of just like clean set design, just going like, I mean, yeah, they'll have plenty of good shields and experience designs in the future. Just save them for that, because what we have in set 3 in Twilight of the Republic is we have token units that are the centerpiece of the design, to the point where they have 2 keyworded abilities that are like faction based. So the Republic coordinate, where you want to have multiple things in play, and for the Separatists we have exploit, which we now know what it does finally. Finally, I say finally, it was a long time. It was like a couple weeks. We figured it out. But,
several years.
Yeah, it feels like it.
Yeah.
Where you can sacrifice your units to reduce the cost of the thing you're playing by 2 for each one, which is a really neat way of having a dichotomy of two things that two abilities that really both want you to put a bunch of stuff on board, but one wants you to keep it and protect it, and the other wants you to consume it and remove it so that you can power up another thing. I am actually in love with just that yin and yang clean design of those two. And when I heard that then they weren't putting in shields and experience, I thought, well, I think that's really cool, just to let them really focus in on supporting those ideas in their design and bringing us more like cool stuff like that. And we can certainly get sets in the future where there's both or whatever.
Oh, sure.
But yeah,
well, we've already seen it too, because capturing is evergreen, it looks like, and is in the next in the next set as well. So that's kind of cool. So I think it's allowing them to kind of support kind of what keywords, because one of the weird complaints, at least to me, that I got, is they're introducing so many different keywords and stuff like that. And they've already said that that's slowing down. It's just, kind of like to get a nice base and build up at first, then we'll piecemeal things in throughout. I kind of like the idea that it will allow for kind of like a room to grow with what they have, and to allow us to embrace that. And then we can still play with stuff that gives experience and shields. And it's going to be deck building and, deck building 101, a nice balance of the new stuff. I think I'm just excited to get tokens, as I'm an aggro guy. I like to go as wide as I can, and I'm very excited to be able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Really pumped. Really pumped for set 3 and beyond. Things are looking so good. Design wise, I feel like they've got a great team. I feel like Shadows has really actually been a really awesome set, has introduced a lot of cool twists and turns to the metagame without totally taking things over, which is, I think, really, really important to be able to nail. I have seen so many card games come through where set 1 is very, very powerful and set 2 is just trash.
Right.
Like just awful. Because you have to pull back so much to not just power creep the game to infinity out the gate. You have to pull back so much. So hitting a sweet spot is actually really difficult, I think. And I'm really happy with Shadows so far. And I think the Gen Con events also were really starting to showcase sort of the fluidity of the format with the card pool that we have now, which is really nice.
Yeah, I agree.
So, any other news? Anything else we got to talk about before we move in?
No, I can't think of anything.
I mean, I think it's the major stuff.
Yeah,
major stuff right now.
That's the major stuff.
So before we move into our sort of a recap of Gen Con, I do want to mention to you all, thank you for watching this. Thank you for your support in just watching it alone. That's plenty of support already, so really appreciate it. If you want to go the extra mile, or should I say the extra parsec, you can do so by leaving a like on the video, commenting down below with your thoughts on anything related to anything we're talking about today. If Jason says something hilarious, if I do something dumb when I'm not realizing I'm on camera, just anything, it's fine. Go ahead. Leave a comment down below. I really appreciate that. And if you're listening on our podcast platform, which I'm hoping it's all back on the podcast platforms by the time you're listening to this, it's been an interesting struggle to get that to work, but it's almost all worked out now. The Grand Archive one is done. That's good. We're finishing the other 2 now. So I'll talk about that maybe in some other episode, why that took so long and everything. Maybe that might be a Patreon thing. But anyway, thank you all for your support. You can leave 5-star reviews on those platforms. That all super helps too. And then if you are buying cards from Star Wars Unlimited or any of the card game, use our TCG Player affiliate link if you think about it, to send us a little kickback when you do buy your cards on tcgplayer.com. all you have to do is, instead of going to the site, go to bit.ly/shoptcgs. That's bit.ly/shoptcgs, or click the link in the description of the video. So, with that all said, thank you all so much for your support. Jason, how was Gen Con this year? How was Gen Con, Jason? How'd it go?
It was okay. It was fun. No, it was a lot of fun. It was great.
I thought it was good.
It was really good.
Good year.
It was really, really good. It was a ton of fun. We did so much, and it was a whirlwind of a week that went way too fast.
Yeah, we were there early. We came in on Tuesday, and we just like vibed. Mm-hmm. I would say those first 2 days were just straight like vibing. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we were playing games. Sometimes people just sat around, and I think everyone was just like kind of storing up energy,
conserving the social battery.
Yeah, exactly. Because then Gen Con started, and let's talk about the biggest. I think it's the biggest thing. Let's talk about the biggest thing. Star Wars Unlimited, Gen Con. You put those two together. What's the first thing you think of, Jason? Let's say it at the same time. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Star Wars Convention exclusives.
No, fine, you're right. It wasn't Hondo. But the Hondo Onaka deck was.
It's a close second. Right? If this wasn't such a cluster, it'd be probably the one thing I'm most excited to talk about.
It was the Star Wars Unlimited convention exclusives. That's obviously the thing that we have to talk about. God, that Hondo deck is sweet, though. I kind of want to really sweet, but it was such a meta call. Okay, anyway, that's another discussion. Okay, so convention exclusives. We had speculated a little bit about how they'd be released, and then as I was posting the video, they announced how they're actually being released. And we looked like an idiot or a pair of idiots on the podcast and release, but that's fine.
That's fine.
Not, we're used to that.
It won't be the last time.
Certainly not the last. So the way they ended up doing this, for people who didn't attend, didn't pay attention, Gen Con is a very structured convention with a website that has a back end that handles everything, ticketing for events and everything. So they decided, here's the way to do this. Everyone's got a badge. Attach your badge or your tickets. What we can do is every day we'll release 200 tickets, which you buy for $0, which allow you to then go to the Asmodee booth and purchase one of the 200 convention exclusives for that day. We'll release the tickets at 9 a.m. on the day. Everyone can do a little race to try and get them. 200 people will be happy. And then we'll do it again 3 more times every day of the convention. They said they would be one person per convention when they announced them initially.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
That was not the case.
Most certainly wasn't.
They rescinded that. And the system itself had the very positive effect. I'm going to start by saying this, the extremely positive effect of nobody had to stand in a line for hours and hours and hours only to find out that they were 3 people off of being able to buy the convention exclusives. Sure. And then their day is ruined.
Right. No, that's excellent. I'm glad we had that at the very least.
Yeah. Now on a bit of the negative side, Gen Con, while having a great website for normal use, did not have a website that was able to appropriately and accurately handle this absolute surge of interest in ticketing at 9 a.m. every day.
Yeah.
It had a few quirks. It had a wish list system and just going in and purchasing things. And the way the wish list system works is Gen Con processes wish lists and prioritizes processing wish lists before anyone who's trying to just buy a ticket, meaning that we found out pretty quickly. Wish listing was often the way to go because you could, there were actually debates about what was
I was already saying there was a whole.
Here's what this devolved into.
Yeah.
Every single day, people would rush in to buy them, and you would get an array of different results from doing that, no matter how you tried to do it. And you would look at the tickets, and it would say there are 100 available, there are 13 available, there are negative 36 available, there are negative 200 available. It kind of didn't matter what it said. for a long time in the day. And people all rushed in at 9 to buy them, and some people, it worked right away. Allegedly, I had never seen it work right away, but allegedly for some people it did. And for the vast majority of people, it said that they were sold out, or it couldn't be put in your cart at the time, or insert error here that you would get during this insanity. And then people would give up, or people would keep trying, or people would talk to others and share their secrets. And this kind of became like you remember, Jason, playing Pokemon when you were in elementary school, because we're that age for that. And
I was in middle school.
Middle school. Fine.
Yeah. Some of us
I
are
was
older.
pretty close. I was at the end of elementary, I think, or middle, whatever.
Anyway,
you go to recess and someone's telling you how you can get Yoshi in the game by you gotta get the Pokegod stones by beating the Elite Four 99 times, and then it became that in a way where people had rituals and secrets and preferred methods and things that definitely don't work for sure, even though they probably do.
Right.
and we spent the weekend every single day, just like we would be trying, we would talk to people, we would share what worked, share what didn't work. And our group of 7 people who went down, we were all like saying, I got it this time, I did this worked, this didn't. And it was, honestly, that was kind of, okay, the system wasn't great, but that was kind of a neat little subculture, I thought, that developed like around the game of trying to get the ticket.
Well, as someone who got one, I'm sure it was a little more fun for you.
Yeah. I mean, this is
so out of our group of 7 people, how many got some out of our group of 7 people?
Well, so if I needed to assign a number,
like a number of people out of 7 who got them, like
a number of people out of 7 who got them in our group, Jason, that number was 6.
The number was 6. Wild guess on who didn't get one. For the viewers, it was 100% me. I was having an absolute nightmare with this, and everybody is telling me what secret voodoo they were doing. Hold your phone up really high, use the wish list, use the app, put malware on your phone, like the one guy's like, I used an auto clicker. I'm like, that sounds really good. That sounds like something I want to do with my phone.
Can't be any worse than installing TikTok already, though, right?
I don't have TikTok, though. That might show my age, but I don't have TikTok. I don't use that.
Well, I mean, all the kids have it, so it's fine. If everyone's doing it, it's cool.
Oh, if everyone's doing it, it's fine. That makes sense. No, it was... I'm happy for the people who got it. I think what upset me the most about the whole situation, going into it, once we realized it was going to be the Gencon system of ticketing, is knowing that it was going to be the Gencon system of ticketing, which on a personal level, I have notoriously bad luck with, regardless of when I hit the button. Like when we're all queuing for our tickets and what place in line we always get, I usually end up near the back end because I'm on 2 Dixie cups and a string in Florida, I guess. I don't know, compared to everybody else. That was probably my biggest frustration about the whole thing. And then the second one was just how kind of just topsy-turvy it started to go as the weekend went on, especially with Sunday, when it didn't even go live at 9 o'clock. That
was the best part.
That was the worst.
We were all just like, just keep doing it. It might go live any moment. And we just kept doing it, except you stopped.
I took my meds for the day because, I have meds. I was brushing my teeth. Dan's like combing his hair and he's like, I got one. I'm like, it's not even up. I'm coming out of the bathroom. I'm like, it's not even up yet. And of course, Dan has one. And I was like, but it was fun. I can't think of a way it could have worked better. I think the intention was there for it to be set up for success. But everybody hammering this thing was obviously a nightmare. Like you said, negative 100 tickets, 3 tickets, then negative 82 tickets, and you're just frantically hitting buttons on your phone. It was a good waiting in line simulator without waiting in the line.
Yeah, we got to do other things while we did it, which is the cool thing. Here was something that I thought was really interesting about the system, though. And I would chalk this up to, I mean, I was going to say it feels like a messaging failure in that it feels like a lot of people didn't know the rules of the game and then played it and got mad about it, which the rules should have worked the way they intended.
The rules
which is
changed over the course of the weekend.
right.
Yeah.
So like the way the rules, if we're going to refer to this as a game of trying to get the convention exclusives, the rules of the game were you try at 9, it sells out, you're done. Right. And that's how a lot of people played the game. Unfortunately, that was not how the game worked. The game was actually you start at 9 and you keep trying for the next 4+ hours. And you could actually get them throughout that entire period of time. It was possible the whole time to get them. Now, dear listener, you might think, Dan, you got to explain to me why that's the case if they said they're selling them at 9.
Why is that the case?
I have no idea. I couldn't possibly tell you why that's the case. I have some speculation, and my speculation is full of vague ideas of how this website might work. And that's the end of it. It's idle speculation. It could be that the system was actually only letting through a few tickets at a time and just took its sweet time to do so. It could have been that a bunch of people put them in carts, but they were nega carts in the negaverse, and so they didn't have them, and the system didn't have them, and eventually it released them. It could have been that people had them in their actual carts for a long time but didn't realize it, and then they just released after 2 hours, which is what the Gen Con site says it does. Or I don't know, any other thing. The arrays just were pointing the wrong place and nothing worked. I don't know. I have no idea why, but I do know this. When people in our group got them, they were anywhere from, I think actually maybe one or two people did get them right around 9.
Right around 9. Yeah.
I think that did happen. I never saw it, but I've heard it happen. 9:15 was a time that happened. 11:15 was a time that happened. 1:15. I don't know why we kept getting like 15 minutes after for some reason. I have no idea if that actually mattered, but we got them as late as past 1 p.m. that day. And I remember someone said it was like the site suddenly said there were 30 something tickets available at that time.
It was when I went and got the pins, when they were doing the pins in the event hall. We were waiting in line, and it's like 12:30. Someone's like, a bunch of tickets just opened up. And of course, I'm like I'm talking and getting my stuff signed and getting pins. You're busy again. And I was like, but yeah, so it was an experience. And I guess my piece on that is thank you to having good friends. I was able to get one, and I didn't have to, go through the nose. So I appreciate that. For those of you who did get them and are playing 3 Kylo Rens in your deck, I think that's great.
So,
but you made sure that was your goal. That was your goal.
That was my goal. I really wanted to. I got fortunate and got 2 myself during the weekend. And when I say like fortunate, I mean that like it was really dumb luck. Especially the second one was crazy. Dumb luck. Yeah. That's the one where you said I was like combing my hair and I looked and ran, and I had just been refreshing, but I'd kind of been like moving around on the site a little bit and like not intentionally. I just like, I clicked the wrong thing and like I'm moving around and suddenly my cart has a 1 in it. And I was like, what happened? What? I have one. Check out. And because we even had things happen where you would get it in your cart and then it wasn't letting you check out. I think that was like Randy in our group first day.
On his first day got that, I think, too.
But eventually it worked. And the big takeaway from this was, and this should have been known, it wasn't fair that this wasn't known. And we had an advantage in having a group that was like sharing our tricks and everything with each other. But you just had to keep trying to actually have a better shot.
Yeah, you couldn't just give up at 9. If you gave up at 9, you weren't going to get 9,
there was almost no chance you were getting it. I'm not saying you would have if you kept doing it because the system was just dumb luck at that point.
Yeah.
But you had chances for sure throughout the day. So this is for anyone going to any other cons that are doing the convention exclusives, which by the way, I still think they should have just printed more of them.
I think more would have been good.
This was enough.
There was only 80,000 people. I mean,
I think they need to be some amount of limited to not be just
for sure.
dead value, right? You want to have some amount of excitement and value, but it was still low, right, for what it could have been, I think. But for those other cons, they probably won't use Gen Con's ticketing system. I also hope they don't use a system that requires you to stand in line for a really long time. But if there's any sort of weird errors with any sort of ticketing or anything, just keep trying.
Just trying.
Don't give up. Don't give up.
And I think they should. I'm hoping that it's not lines or waiting in heat. The safety of people is really important. It's summer right now, or like looking all the stuff at D23 this past week. That was tough to look at for some of those people and some of the stories for that. So I think the digital ticketing is fine. They did what they could as best they could.
I mean, at the end of the day, it was Gen Con's system.
And even if I didn't end up rolling, I would still feel the same way. Although everyone was like, you need to try this, you need to try that. And I'm like, what do you think I've been doing? To the point, like on Saturday, I was like, if somebody tells me what to do again, like I was like sitting in the press room, I was cooling down and I was sitting in there and I got my press Coke, which is one of my favorite parts of the con. And I've just got my battery to my phone and just refreshing like a madman, or just putting in my car like a madman. But it was great to see so many of my friends get stuff, and it was cool to see the people who got it, who wanted it just to play them and stuff like that, the excitement they had. It was also cool to see the amount of excitement over something like this for collector and player alike. Again, that's true. I don't think any way they could have compromised for this system to work. I do think allowing people more than one was kind of like that kind of me is a little sour grapes, and I can see where people would get upset about that. But the other things like technical, what can you do? You have thousands upon thousands of people doing that. You can't expect them within a week of announcing this to be like, all right, what's your server infrastructure looking like for this? Like what? Like let's what can we roll out to make this better? You just kind of go with what you have at that point. And I genuinely think it was an audible to that ticketing system, in my opinion, after what happened before, because I just thought they were going to be like, all right, it's going to be like Lorcana the previous year. And I was pretty confident. I was, when we were talking about that, like, we look foolish now.
I was like 100%. We were planning when we were going to go stand in line.
Yeah. We weren't telling people what time to stand in line, but we were planning, to get there really early. So I think that it was the best solution possible. Was it rife with issues? Yes, but I think it was probably the best way they could have handled it for the safety of a lot of patrons and people. And so you don't waste your whole day at a con you spent some people thousands of dollars to do to play, wait in a line. I'd rather simulate that. And I did. And I can't say I had fun.
Simulated it great. Simulated it was just as not fun as standing
just as not fun.
I do want to just take a second, because I feel like I need to preemptively defend myself a little bit.
No, you don't have to. Why?
I don't know. I feel like I have at least something I want to say. So yeah, I agree that they said it should be one per person per con, and I thought that was fair and reasonable. Absolutely. And made sense. But my whole purpose this whole time, I really wanted to acquire 3 of these.
Yeah.
Specifically because my Kylo Ren Reanimator deck uses Palpatine, Vader, and Kylo Ren in 3 ofs. And to me, it was the coolest thing in the world to be able to deck that deck out with those alt arts. I adore that deck. It is actually possibly my favorite deck in a card game.
Whoa.
Like, I don't know if I'm ready to commit to that, but I really love that deck a lot. I'm just about to gush. People have been waiting, I think, for my deck profile. It is, I believe, next week I'm going to have it ready.
God, oh my God.
I was sick.
That scared me to death.
That scared me too. I think we're going to have the deck profile next week. I'm going to be gushing about it in that
really
video
excited.
Because I 3-0'd locals again with it last week. I love this thing. It is a good deck. It's fun. Anyway, my whole thing was I was going to go out of my way to try and get 3 of these. So yeah, they announced that that people can get multiple. I had to try.
Yeah, but why wouldn't you? That'd be foolish not to. I'm sorry.
Right. And I got 2 and ended up buying the 3rd one from another person or group for the inflated price.
Right.
instead because that's what I had to do to get it at that point.
And he cracked them open and sleeved them up like a psycho.
They're sleeved up.
Yep, I was there
and
for
I've
that.
Been playing with them, and I love them.
My box is literally on my entertainment center next to Sonic and Mega Man right now. Just hanging out,
protected at least by
they're very safe, very safe,
very safe.
And
I also want to say in my defense that anytime anybody asked me, I got to meet a bunch of you at Gen Con, which is really, really sweet. Yeah. Thanks for coming up and saying hi. I got to have a bunch of really fun interactions, from standing in line on Thursday morning to at the actual events, waiting to sign up, all sorts of things. And anytime anybody asked about it, I provided everything that we had learned.
We spilled the beans.
Like, you got to keep trying. You got to
don't give up.
I tried my best to help other people get them to the best of my ability. But yeah, it was just sort of a dog eat dog world out there. It
certainly
right?
Was. So dog eat dog world, huh? I like
that. Yeah, we had to do what we could.
Yeah.
So
it was, I'm just glad it's over for my mental anguish. Now I can go back to normal problems, like the real life problems, not that one. No, it was, again, I'm happy for the people that got it. If you're frustrated and get it, I'm just as frustrated for you. I'm thankful to have the friends I have that I was able to acquire one. But I think it was the right way to do it, to keep people safe and to learn from lessons they previously did, which is most important.
Now, let's talk about, Jason. There were a ton of events that happened over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
There was a fascinating developing metagame throughout the 3 events.
Yeah.
That saw decks like Hondo performing well in a Boba metagame, to Hondo getting crushed when everybody shifted to Sabine, to the more control-oriented metagame coming out across this. It was really cool to see that live action meta shifting. So that was great. I don't know. Should we talk in detail about those, or leave it to other?
I think the my takeaway from the large events is kudos to you if you played in those events the whole way through, at a convention like that, because I could not take away from the siren song of everything to do while you're there. Those finalizer mats are freaking sweet. That. Had I would have known that was a mat, I probably would have done really bad anyway, and I would have been happy for people getting them still. I think the biggest thing that I could say about metagame and stuff like that, it was interesting to see how it evolved from day to day, like you said.
Yeah.
Like how I was like, okay, well, it kind of did a 180 in a sense. Without going into too much detail, some of the top decks on some of the days were really cool to kind of buzz about. Mainly because I didn't have time to watch the stream or anything like that. So you're just hearing pairings. You're like, whoa. And people were talking about Honda. I was like, no, they're not. And then as it turns out, they certainly were. And that to me, that's so exciting to me, especially as a leader that a lot of people have kind of slept on. And it kind of was in a perfect vacuum of decks to play against, looking at it's kind of the day that it was. So I think that's really cool. And again, this is a unique circumstance where it's a convention where we had basically 3 large events, bang, 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 one after the other, where everyone just kind of adapted to the room, which is really neat to kind of see in such a small vacuum.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that was great. And I think as far as the individual meta deck analysis or whatever, I think there are other content creators who have already dug into depth. And instead, Jason, I think you and I can provide a little more interesting perspective on just the general events of the weekend, as well as talking about the content creator event we got to play in, which for me was actually the highlight of Gen Con.
I agree. It was a lot of fun.
So I want to let's save that really juicy bit for the end, because that's really fun. But let's talk about the events in general, because you and I played a number. I played in a sealed deck.
Yep.
And I played in 2 premier pods, one after the other. And what did you?
I just had one sealed. Just one sealed.
You just played one
sealed.
Yeah, that's right. How do your sealed go?
I won my first game or my first match, and then I lost my next one, so it was fine. My first sealed pool, I don't know. I have trouble with limited formats sometimes. In some games, my limited gameplay is excellent. Like in Final Fantasy, like we just had limited with new set. My deck was awesome. I felt really good about my choices. I think I kind of specced on some of wrong card choices, which I can elaborate on when we went to go to the content creator event. But what I enjoyed about the limited event is that it just felt the right amount of time and like the right length of time for an event at a larger scale event like that for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if I would have ran the whole thing.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I ran those 3, and I ran 3 altered events throughout the weekend too. And I never felt like I was out of time to do anything during a day, but I also really enjoyed the time I got to spend playing in those events.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just felt kind of perfect. I did that sealed deck, and in that sealed deck, I opened up a pool that was really weird. So I did the thing that I always do, which keep this in your mind for the later conversation as well, was I went Boba Red.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, keep that one in mind. I went, Heroes and Boba Red, obviously the Shadows of the Galaxy, so green, red Boba. And for the sealed, I think I 2-1'd it. I think I 2-1'd every single event I played that weekend. Come to think of it. So I think that's right. And that sealed pool was, really awkward. It was so weird to figure out that I opened up a Rey legendary, and I played her as a 7-drop in there. I was like,
yep, just jam it.
Just she'll be big.
Sometimes you got to do it.
She'll do some stuff, and I did play her one game, and she was kind of threatening on the board, and it was fine. But yeah, it was a very, very much a sealed deck. It was just kind of like, here's a bunch of junk, and I'm gonna pump up a thing every turn with Boba and attack you. And sometimes it worked, and one time it didn't. So
my first sealed pool, I should say, I guess I got Rey, so I was blue.
There you go.
That was blue. I went blue red, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do the easy thing. I open up a Rey, I just play the Rey because it's easy. And I just didn't cash in on. I probably could have went green, blue, and cash in on some of my more threatening, like higher value units. Instead, I was like, I'm just going to go low to the ground and try to steal the game. But as it turns out, people are like, I'm just going to play these bigger units and win the game by actually having an actual curve. So kudos for them to knowing how to play the game. I'm still learning.
Darn it! I hate when that happens.
I hate that. No.
Yeah, so sealed was sealed. The guy who beat me in the last round opened up a showcase Rey. I'm not bitter at all about that, and it is prize packs. So
that's pretty sick.
No bitterness whatsoever about what could have been. Yeah, okay, I know. Anyway,
those could have been yours. That's okay. Next time.
I'm very happy for him.
Yeah.
I will open a showcase one day. I'm sure I will open.
Oh wait, I did. Yeah, that's right. I did in my pre-release.
You did.
I did. That's right. Hey.
I also played in 2 Premier Pods. The first one I played Kylo, and I went 2-1 in that one. My one loss, these were best of 1 matches, which I think was really correct.
Yes.
I think that's cool just to be able to jam best of 1 because it goes so fast. It's nice and easy. But my one loss was so frustrating because it was against a Sabine yellow deck. I have teched this deck so hard against aggro, and I drew my opening hand, mulliganed, and then mulliganed into just the worst hand against aggro. And I fell flat on my face in that game. Couldn't get anything together. He I think he perfected me because my deck doesn't attack your base much anyway until late in the game. So I think it was a 30-0, just took me down. And it was so fast. The others were still playing. I was like, do you want to play one more? And then I played one more and smoked him in that game. And I was like, I feel good that it wasn't just like, oh no, my deck's worse than I thought. But that's why best of 3 is nice to
Yeah.
have a little bit of a check on the variance. He had kind of an awkward start that game too, by the way. I don't want to be like, I destroyed that idiot. No, he's a super nice guy, and he was playing a sweet deck and he was playing it well. But both of us just had a game where we just kind of, things didn't quite come up right, and then the other person just took him out entirely. Wow. So the other 2 matches, then I kind of cruised through. And then my second tournament, I was playing Mono Blue Gar, baby. Hey, your favorite.
It is my favorite. Although I shelved it this week for something else, but we'll talk about that another time.
Yeah. Just for now. It has been a really fun deck to explore. I have a few more changes I want to make to it after playing it there, but I won 2 matches and then went to the third match. This was against an absolutely, I could just tell, incredible player from Mexico, and I don't remember his name, unfortunately, but he was great. He was playing yellow boba, mono yellow boba, and it was this, the blue control decks are favored in that matchup, sure, but it's not by a ton. It's like a 60-40 or maybe even a 55-45, depending on card choices and player skill and everything. And I was doing pretty well at holding on to the game for a really long time. He got the fire spray down, and I was about to deal with it in one of a couple different ways. And then he goes through a sequence of, I think I played a Vigilance and took something out, and then he plays a card to discard my super laser, my other Vigilance, and then another card to discard my super laser blast. He like Bodhi Rooks me into Bazine Natal's me in the same turn, and suddenly everything I had to deal with, the fire spray and everything else going on, was gone. I had resourced my second super laser blast early in the game because I had both in my hand, and I was like, I just have to land one of these. I think I'll be okay. And then he, at the exact perfect time, had his discard, took it out. And I was like, well, yeah, I mean, you get the win then, for sure.
You got it. Yeah, for sure.
That was, yeah. So it was a great game. Honestly, it was a really fun game. Felt like I could have pulled it out if he didn't have that. He had it. It's how it goes.
Yeah.
So, so that was how it went for me. It was a ton of fun though. Really enjoyed playing both decks. I think the deck I'm playing at locals this weekend is the third deck that I brought with, which is one that's very experimental, but very fun. It's a yellow Ray aggro deck, that you got to see a little bit. The deck that it is, Rose is a good card.
Rose, I have a whole lot to talk about Rose for the content creator event. Rose carried me through that pretty hard. Is good. Yeah.
So we'll maybe talk about that more in the future, but let's move on to one of our, I think for me, like I said, I think it was my favorite event that I did that weekend, the content creator event. Jason, why don't you tell everyone how this went? You got invited.
Yeah, because I got invited, and Xander made it a point to actually like, hey, make sure Jason comes to this. Make sure I get his email. So shout out to him. That was a lot of fun. So we were just trying to get to the hall to see what's going on, and we eventually go over to the Hasway booth and the Fantasy Flight little tournament headquarters thingy, and we got a bag. In that bag was hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
It was just unmarked bills. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, is this what you guys get? No, we got a couple packs so we can, have some fun, jam some games. We got, the new sleeves, the art sleeves, the Game Genic stuff for set 2 and the soft deck box, which was really sweet.
And I have a video coming out about those sleeves too.
And I don't want to like spoil your video, but very happy with the sleeves. I'm very happy with the sleeves. I'll leave to that. And then we had a playmat inside that bag.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
That was a surprise. We had no idea what was going to be going on.
When they sent this out, they sent out this invite via email, and they just said, we're going to have a little content creator get together, hang out, play some games. You want to come? And I was like, yeah, like, of course, that sounds fun. Like, let's, and I brought my Premier decks of like, and my twin sons, like, yeah, let's just jam some games or whatever. And then they had these out, which have the 6 boosters in them and all the sleeves and the deck box. And then they have a playmat featuring the armor artwork, which when that was first revealed was one that I sounded like, That
probably
is
my favorite hyperspace
artwork.
in the entire set. Like,
the hyperspace
it just looks so good as a hyperspace foil.
Yeah, so we got that, and we were like, "What's this all about?" They said it's for this event. It's the content creator mat for Shadows, and very hyped about that.
Mm-hmm.
Very hyped to use that at locals more.
It's gorgeous. It's very pretty.
It's a gorgeous mat.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was really cool. And then we got to sit down with everyone and with our packs, and we just kind of were like chilling. Like, what do you want to do? It's like, do you want to play sealed? Do you want to play draft? Do you want to just open them and play Twin Suns or something? And everyone basically unanimously decided, like this. There was like 16 people there. Like, let's draft.
Mm-hmm.
Let's draft. So we split into 2 pods and drafted. Our pod had John Leo from the dev team, as well as Tony is his name. I remember Tony from the Marvel Champions.
Yes,
there's so many Marvel games. Like,
I was gushing about Champions with him. So yes,
the Marvel Champions design team. Tony was there. Who at first I was like, oh, he's just like Star Wars Unlimited. He thinks it's cool. He's playing, and then I was like, he's playing. I'm like, wait, no, this guy's really good.
He's good. Yeah, he's really good.
He's really good at this. Yeah. So that was pretty fun. Just to play with them, and we got to hang out with some of our other buddies too. The Johto cast, Rolling Dice and Taking Names were at our table, as well as Nelson all over cards.
Yep.
I think that's
everyone.
That was our table.
That should be our table, because I was in it too. I was the 8th person.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then and I think like Unplayable and Golden Dice and whoever other people we were like basically separated from the other pod though. Like we were kind of in our own zone over here. We drafted, and I'll just start.
You
quick.
Can start, sure. It's fine.
I had, I think, the greatest draft deck I've ever had in Star Wars Limited. It was nobody was in. Guess what? Drum roll. It was green, red boba. No one was in it but me. And yep, I had 4 Sundari Peacekeepers and 4 modded cohorts in my deck. So I was consistent. I was extremely consistent. I was a little overly cocky about how consistent I was. However, I did win the event overall. I ended up 3-0ing, which was really exciting. And then I think I beat I beat Marty for Rolling Dice and Taking Names also at the end, I think, just in a 4th game for fun.
Yeah, you guys played in and then you played me. That was fun.
Yeah, that was right. I played you.
I'll save that. Okay. Put a pin on that.
I do want to say though, Nelson had this Mando Bo-Katan Mando deck with 3 armors in it. That was gross. That was nasty. I barely beat him because he had a clunky draw. I played him one time and like, what's with this deck? It's like, I thought it wasn't even very good. And then he played another game like smoke, just destruction. Like, whoa, there's too many armors. It's like, how do you deal with this?
Yeah, I happened to look over when that was happening. I was like, oh, wow. Nice little pile there.
So why don't you talk about your deck?
My deck was sweet. So I played Ray again because I just think Restore is really powerful in a limited vacuum. Like, it gives me more opportunities to misplay. I'll just be honest. In my head, that's how I think of it. It gives me. I'm being 100% serious. It's comfortable, so I can, like, if I make a mistake, it's not as punishing when I could just crack back the life that I probably would have lost, or at least that part of the economy versus like unit economy, action economy, stuff like that. I had a really cool Moisture Farmer deck. Only because my Mr. Inconsequential Moisture Farmer in every single game was like a 2/6 because of I was just beating face with it. I had 2 Roses, 2 Cargo Juggernauts, so my deck actually felt pretty sweet. I went 2-1 because I don't know how to count. I miscounted lethal. I thought I had lethal. I had my opponent at 1, but they had to restore 2 on the crackback and only had 2 going back in. And if I would just attacked in a different order, I would have had the game. And then I would have had to play against Dan to see who won the pod. So I was glad I didn't have to do that.
So yeah, it was Marty. Who I played 3rd. It was for the winner of the pod.
For the winner of the pod.
For which John kindly grabbed another booster and said, "You know what? The winner gets this booster."
And a moon
and
pie.
I was like, "And a moon pie."
But he doesn't know that I ate it. But now he knows I ate
it. Yeah, I gave you the moon pie because you were like dying.
Dying.
So I played Marty. We had a good game. I ended up taking it. My deck being the deck full of copies of everything, 4 copies of it. I had 2 timely interventions. I had
your deck was
two clone deserters. I had 3 Coronas, Corona Outlaws, Outlaw Corona, the UFO, which is a card I like more than a lot of people. It's a 3/5 with bounty. Your opponent gets a resource if they kill it, but it's a 3/5 in space and nobody kills it.
Yeah,
they never kill it. I had 2 Desperado Freighters. I had almost the only thing I think that I didn't have a copy of. I even had 2 Cassians. I had 1 copy of Echo, ironically, was the one thing I only had 1 copy of, I think, in the deck. And then I opened this victory pack.
As I say, what was in your prize pack?
My prize pack included first of all, Legendary Mandalorian,
which was sweet
value, and a hyperspace foil Echo, which I just thought was so hilarious after that happened that I went over to John and said, "John, you got to sign this to commemorate this insane draft deck, this victory, and getting Echo in the prize pack of all things too." So that was hilarious. And then you and I played a game just to see what would have happened.
Okay, hold on. This is not the story. This is not the story.
No, that's the story.
No, it's not the story. So we're wrapping things up, and Dan's like, "We got to play." Basically called me out in front of everybody, and I was like, I let me know, I'm like, I don't want to do this. I already know what was going to happen. I didn't want to do it. And Dan also opened like absolutely crackers against me. I was like, all right, you win, buddy. He's like, no. This is what I'm going to do to you. And I'm just like, very cool. Glad you're like this to your friends and not actual people. No, it was cool to see how insane Dan's deck was. I was really happy with my deck, even though I think I should have pivoted off blue a little bit, or off the blue cards earlier. I just kind of fell in love with a couple cards too early and didn't see signs with how everybody was pulling across the pod. I got a foil Hyperspace Rivals Fall and a foil Hyperspace Fell the Dragon. One was past me and I opened one. So I was just like, if anything, I get these. And I got like a Kylo, I think. But most of all, it was just a lot of fun. It was fun to just chat with people. It was fun to just open up some packs and just kind of, be with like-minded individuals in the content space, and just kind of like with no real pressure of like feeling like I need to be like the best. Although I was putting that in my head, like, if I draft a bad deck, what are they going to think of me? Like what's going to happen?
I think, I mean, I think that was the big thing, was that it was just such a chill, like just do whatever, hang out, have fun, joke around. Getting to chat with the devs is always a blast, because the dev team for Unlimited is amazing. They're all crazy smart.
Mm-hmm.
They're all really, really fun to talk to, really interesting people with wild backgrounds. And it was just a blast. It was so much fun. And I love this game. This game's so good, dude. This game is so sick.
It's a lot of fun.
I can't get enough Star Wars Unlimited. So, and Gen Con really cemented that. And, the thing I keep thinking too, just to kind of maybe like lead this to a little bit of a capstone, was that, this is year 0 for the game, right? Like this is just what they've been able to put together after just trying to get the game off the ground in the first place. Things like the promos, like not having enough, or doing it through the sort of ticket lottery system, whatever. Like these are all things that are, or as we say, like the prizes, weren't great for all the events.
They weren't. Like, a lot of it was playing for vibes.
Yeah. All of those things are things that we like to call out and mention, like, that could be done better or whatever. And we say that not to like rage clickbait. It's not like the title of this is going to be how Gen Con was a failure. It's because we have so much more time for them to take that and go, oh yeah, you're right, we'll fix it. And I don't say this like just hoping against hope that they'll fix it. I say it because I know that we've got people there listening who are taking this feedback and going, yeah, okay, we'll just make a note, and then I think there's only up. We can only go up from here. As we go through 2025 and beyond. There's so much room for any of the things that we have any criticisms with, even if very minor, to be addressed, to be fixed, things to improve. We heard the collation's getting fixed, by the way. Yes. I don't know if you heard that.
Yeah.
The collation thing is getting fixed, I believe, next set is what they said.
Which is exciting. That's really good.
Good.
Things are, we're only on the ground floor of where everything's going with the game. So it's really exciting, especially if you're in it now and right at the beginning, and it's just the fledgling steps of everything that's going on in this game. So can we be critical? Yes, I think we're critical a lot, actually, but I don't think it's from a place of negativity. It's just a place of like, okay, this is what's not maybe working the best. Maybe they'll change it. Maybe they won't. But the good news is that they're listening either way and receptive and understanding. And it's been really cool. And to experience that in person, I thought was really cool. And just see that and hear that and how approachable everybody was really great.
Yeah. Yep. So, don't lose too much sleep over all of these little things. The promos, if you didn't get them, that's really, that sucks. I feel like I'd be scrambling. I'd be feeling really bad because I really did want them. Also, there are going to be more of them at more cons. There'll be more chances. The prices might go down over time. I think that's still a possibility. And at the end of the day, though, even if I couldn't get them, it's not like I would stop playing the game. I would just go, well, I hope I get them next time. I hope I get the next ones. There will be more. Don't lose too much sleep over the criticisms right now, because the game is in such a good place. There's so many players. There's so much excitement. And there's only up to go from here.
We got Planetary Qualifiers right around the corner. It's going to be here before we know it. So all there is just stuff to be excited about and more stuff for me to probably complain about. And that's good.
It keeps the content rolling.
Yeah, exactly. It keeps the clicks going. No, it's a really exciting time, and I'm glad that I'm a part of it and we're a part of it, doing this and just being a player and just being a part of it.
I'm glad to have you here too, Jason. And now they know who you are.
They know who I am, and they're like, okay,
boy.
He should not be allowed back.
Now they know why they should not invite you.
Dan bullied that guy actively in front of us, and he didn't stand up for himself. So no, I did. I was like, let this be known. I may have said a colorful word, but we were among friends. It's okay.
There was colorful
words by multiple parties.
Yeah, that's true. I started to get to be a bit of a loose cannon.
Oh yeah, he was
towards the end.
We were also dying of hunger by the end of it.
We hadn't eaten anything. Which is why I had to give you the moon pie to satiate you after I destroyed you. I felt a little bad. I'm like, okay, you can have my moon pie.
Oh, okay, thanks. That was really cool
welcome.
of you. Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I'm so blessed. But yeah, it was fun. I'm sad it ended.
It is over. Another Gen Con next year. We'll be at that one. But before then, many more episodes of Galactic Ambition.
Mm-hmm. Many. And I'll be at them, because I have nothing going on next 2 weeks from now.
Well, and hopefully more beyond that.
We'll reschedule.
But Jason, why don't you take us out of here?
Well, as Gen Con ended, this episode has to as well. Actually, before we go, it's Gen Con. I was educated. Over the.
I'll go ahead and say it. We all thought. Everyone in the main deck crew thought that Jason was trolling us this whole time.
I just think that it's very easy to bully me, and they just decided to use this as a launching point to do that, but it is Gen Con. Gen Con has ended, but the incessant bullying of me hasn't, but unfortunately this episode must end. So
no, I don't bully you.
Okay, you're gonna make people think I do. Okay, yeah, everything is great. But thank you guys so much for watching. We have a lot of fun doing this, and if you enjoyed what you heard today or like our rambling, tune in next time. Drop us a like, comment comment on how you would bully me if you want. That's fine. I'm sure Dan and the crew are open to suggestions. Thank you. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Galactic Ambition, part of the Maindeck podcast family. For Dan, I'm Jason, and I'm allowed to say goodnight to everybody this week. So see you guys. Have a good one. Be safe. Be good to each other. Check out the Judge program. Be good people to one another, unlike some people I know. Bye.
I can't.